Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're focusing on, well, what our sources suggest is potentially the highest leverage strategy for small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs right now. We're doing a deep dive into the strategic fusion, really, of two powerful forces, autonomous AI agents and psychological gamification.
And we're not just talking about the simple tools everyone's maybe tinkering with.
Exactly. Not the surface level stuff. We're talking integrated systems that can fundamentally transform how your business operates.
Yeah, and the numbers we're seeing, they demand attention. They're pretty much impossible to ignore. Our mission today really is to show you exactly how to implement these high-value transformative systems.
Right.
And look, for any listener who's maybe been hesitant, perhaps thinking about those initial costs, you need to understand this. These systems are routinely delivering potential ROI figures between 400 and, get this, 700%.
Wow, that's exponential growth territory. And for SMBs really focused on immediate financial relief, maybe cash flow. Our sources show businesses using these systems report median annual savings of around $7,500.
And that's the median. A significant chunk, about a quarter of those businesses, are seeing savings over $20,000 a year.
So it feels like the time for just thinking about it is, well, over.
Yeah.
We need to unpack how this strategic fusion actually works and why it's proving so powerful. Okay, so let's start with the current landscape. AI adoption rates among SMBs seem to be skyrocketing.
Yeah.
We're seeing reports showing rates, anywhere from 60% right up to maybe 89% of small businesses using some kind of AI platform for operations in 2025. It kind of feels like everyone's already on board, doesn't it?
They are, sort of. And that's a good starting point, but we really need to talk about the implementation gap. It's hidden within those, fantastic adoption rates.
Oh, okay.
That high figure, say 89%, it typically reflects the use of what we call basic tools. Think using generative AI to draft emails, maybe embedded chatbots on a website, or those scheduling assistants.
Right, the efficiency boosters,
useful.
low-hanging fruit maybe.
Exactly. It's useful, it boosts efficiency, but it's not transformative in the way we're discussing today.
So if that's the basic tool, how do we define the sophisticated system we're talking about? The kind that delivers that, 700% ROI. What's the paradigm shift here?
It's really about the leap in concept from traditional automation to true autonomous AI agents.
Okay.
See, traditional automation, things like robotic process automation or RPA, it's inherently rule-based. It's rigid.
If this, then that.
Precisely. It executes an if this, then that command, usually on structured data. And the moment something unexpected happens, an exception, the human has to step back in, intervene, fix it. It's like a laser-focused assistant, sure, but it needs constant supervision.
Got it. And the autonomous AI agent is fundamentally different.
Fundamentally, the agent is proactive. And crucially, it's goal-oriented. You don't give it step-by-step instructions. You give it a high-level objective. Like, convert this pile of new leads into book demos.
And it figures out how.
It figures out the complex multi-step actions needed to actually achieve that goal.
Which means it has to handle messy, real-world information, not just clean spreadsheets.
Exactly. It deals with unstructured data emails, voice recordings, maybe contract documents, customer chat logs, you name it. And critically, it continuously learns and adapts its strategy without you needing to constantly reprogram it.
Right. No hand-holding every step of the way.
None.
That sounds like a critical distinction for the human worker, too.
Hmm?
Our role shifts, doesn't it? From being the detailed programmer,
Right.
writing the rule book.
To being the high-level objective setter and eventually the overseer monitoring performance and goals. It's a really powerful shift.
So going back to that lead generation example.
Yeah, think about it. The agent doesn't just draft an email. It qualifies the lead, maybe checking multiple data sources. It figures out the best person to contact at the company. It schedules the meeting directly onto the human sales rep's calendar, and then it automatically updates the CRM system.
All independent.
All independently based on that final objective you gave it. That is the definition of a high-value, transformative system. It executes an entire business process end to end.
Okay, that sounds incredibly powerful, almost utopian. But it also sounds like it could introduce some risk if not managed carefully.
Yeah.
What's the biggest risk if an SMB just unleashes a powerful, goal-oriented agent without strong guardrails?
Well, there's the risk of misalignment, definitely, where the agent, optimizes for a specific metric that doesn't quite line up with the bigger company goal.
Right.
But honestly, the biggest implementation risk, the one we see again and again, is human resistance. If your employees don't trust the system or if they feel threatened by it,
Then adoption plummets.
exactly, the adoption rate crashes. And that potential 700% ROI, it just evaporates. Which brings us perfectly to our next segment.
Okay, so resistance and burnout. They're the classic reasons new tech implementations often fail, right?
Mm.
But if the AI agent is supposed to be eliminating all the tedious work, why do we still need gamification? Why is it the essential human catalyst here?
Because you've effectively changed the job description. Even if the tedious stuff is gone, the human is now responsible for higher level, more complex tasks. And frankly, that can be intimidating.
Ah, okay, so it's not just about the AI doing its job.
No. Gamification, when done right, goes way beyond just superficial points and badges. It's about applying deep psychological principles to sustain employee engagement and, crucially, accelerate the adoption of that new, potentially more demanding workflow.
So it's about making the new, maybe harder parts of the job feel more engaging and rewarding.
Precisely. It's about tapping into intrinsic motivation. The most effective gamification strategies really leverage self-determination theory. Are you familiar with that?
Remind me.
It identifies three core human psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness.
Okay, let's break that down. Autonomy. That's giving the user a sense of control over the process, even with an AI involved.
Right. Competence is that feeling of mastery, of getting good at the new skills required. It's feeling effective.
And relatedness.
That's the social connection. Things like friendly competition or feeling like you're part of a team that's succeeding together.
Okay, autonomy, competence, relatedness. And what drives this? You mentioned a loop.
Yeah. The mechanism driving it all is often called the dopamine reward loop. When you complete a challenging task or hit a significant milestone, that immediate positive feedback, maybe it's a notification, a progress bar filling up, a digital badge popping up, it stimulates dopamine release in the brain.
The feel-good chemical.
Exactly. And that neurotransmitter reinforces the positive behavior. It makes the user subconsciously want to repeat the action that led to the reward.
Can you give us a simple example of that loop in action, specifically with an AI agent?
Sure. Let's go back to that sales agent we discussed. The human sales rep is now focused mainly on the complex deal closings, right? The AI agent just processed, say, 50 leads in 5 minutes, work that used to take hours.
Okay.
Now, if the gamification system immediately recognizes that AI accomplishment and rewards the human, maybe with a data insight applied badge, or perhaps the progress bar for the quarterly quota visibly jumps forward, they get that instant positive psychological feedback.
Ah, I see. It connects the AI's work to their success.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like the satisfaction you get from physically crossing items off a long to-do list. But the digital structure ensures you get that reinforcement every time the AI successfully completes its part of the process that contributes to your goal.
Okay, so that's where the true multiplier effect comes from, isn't it? It's the combination.
Precisely. The AI agent handles the repetitive, often soul-crushing, low-value chores that lead to burnout. Then the gamification layer steps in and transforms the enhanced human workflow, the higher-level thinking, the critical decision-making into a rewarding, engaging experience.
It becomes a change management tool.
It's arguably the ultimate tool for change management in this context. It accelerates user adoption, gets people comfortable with the new way of working faster, and therefore significantly shortens the time it takes to realize that massive ROI we talked about.
The stats back this up.
They do. We see data suggesting 90% of employees feel more motivated when gamification is used effectively in their roles.
All right, now that we understand the strategy AI for efficiency, gamification for engagement, let's talk hard numbers. Because the productivity gains just for the human worker using these tools are pretty compelling on their own.
They absolutely are. Across the board, sources indicate workers are, on average, about 33% more productive in each hour they use generative AI and AI agents.
33% per hour.
Yeah. So for a typical employee, that translates to the AI delivering roughly 2.2 hours of time savings per week, just given back to them.
Right.
And for specialized roles, developers using agents like GitHub Copilot report even higher savings, sometimes near 40% time reduction during tasks like code migration.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And, okay, we should look at some enterprise-level cost reduction examples, too. Even if the scale is different for an SMB, they illustrate the potential, right?
Exactly. They show the percentage gains that are often replicable. Take the regional healthcare network example. They used AI agents to streamline drafting complex reports.
Okay.
They cut the time needed from 17 weeks down to about 10, 12 weeks. That efficiency contributed to a projected cost reduction of over $45 million in their R&D budgets.
$45 million. That's obviously massive. How does that translate or relate to an SMB owner listening right now? They're not saving $45 million.
No, probably not in absolute terms, but it relates entirely through the rate of efficiency improvement. An SMB might not save millions, but they can absolutely expect to replicate that percentage gain in efficiency.
Okay, give me another example.
Think about the mortgage company example. They used agents for things like document classification and review. The result, they reduced their loan processing costs by 80%. 80%, and they achieved a 20 times faster application approval process. Those kinds of metrics, 80% cost reduction, 20x speed increase, those are absolutely achievable for many small businesses, especially those dealing with high volumes of repetitive paperwork or processes.
And what about the ROI specifically generated by the gamification layer, the human engagement piece?
Well, the human factor is the financial factor here in many ways. Studies show that well-designed, gamified incentive structures can increase sales performance by up to 20%.
20% boost just from better motivation and engagement structure.
Yeah, and when you combine that motivation with the AI-driven efficiency, you see stats like 89% of employees reporting increased overall productivity from these combined systems.
Okay, performance is up.
Yeah.
But let's tackle the elephant in the room, the cost. What does getting one of these targeted, integrated AI agent solutions actually cost in SMB?
Right. It's a significant commitment, no doubt. For a targeted solution, the initial investment for a smaller organization can range pretty widely, but generally you're looking at somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000.
That's a serious number for many SMBs.
It is, and you absolutely have to factor in the often hidden costs that can inflate that price tag.
Like what?
Integration. Getting the new system to talk nicely with your existing software and infrastructure, that can easily add 40% to 60% to the project cost.
Yeah.
And data preparation. Cleaning up your data, structuring it so the AI can actually use it effectively. That's often another 20% to 30% of the entire budget right there.
Okay, so the sticker shock is definitely real. How do businesses justify that?
They justify it with the speed of the payback. Here's the critical mitigating factor. 74% of executives report achieving a positive return on that deployment within the first year.
Within 12 months.
Within 12 months. The payback is fast. Those rapid productivity gains we talked about mean the system often pays for itself much quicker than traditional tech investments. That's why the initial investment, while large, is fundamentally different from, say, a slow burn capital expenditure.
Okay, so let's say an SMB is convinced by that rapid payback potential, but they need to start smart, maybe start small. Where should they focus their energy first? Which processes tend to yield the highest, quickest ROI?
Good question. The highest ROI is almost always found in processes that share a few key characteristics. They're high volume, they're repetitive, and unfortunately, they're often highly prone to human error.
Makes sense.
Because those are the tasks where automation and agents deliver the biggest efficiency gains almost immediately. And frankly, they're often the tasks that are most tedious and draining for employees anyway.
So where's the undisputed quickest win? The fastest payback area?
Customer service. Hands down.
Really?
Yeah. It typically achieves the fastest payback, often within just 3 to 6 months, and it delivers an average ROI of around 230%.
Wow.
Because AI agents can immediately step in and handle a huge chunk, often between 70% and 85% of those Tier 1 common customer inquiries. Things like, what's my balance? Or how do I reset my password? Assess as a cost. That instantly reduces the cost per chat, often by as much as 70%.
And that frees up the human agents.
To focus exclusively on the complex, nuanced, maybe emotionally charged issues, the work that truly requires human judgment, empathy, and creative problem solving.
So how do you then gamify the role of those remaining human agents whose jobs just got arguably harder, dealing only with complex issues?
You turn that complex work into a challenging but ultimately rewarding game. It's not about speed anymore, necessarily. It's about quality and skill.
Okay, like what?
Things like detailed progress tracking on resolving those really tricky tickets. Maybe team challenges focused on achieving the highest customer satisfaction scores on the tickets that do require human intervention. You could award specialized badges for demonstrating expert-level knowledge in specific product areas or handling difficult situations exceptionally well.
So you celebrate the deep knowledge and skill needed for the tough human work.
Exactly. You make mastery the goal.
Okay, customer service is number one. What's the second high-value area for relatively quick returns?
Sales and lead generation is another big one. In sales, speed is often king, right?
Absolutely. Speed to lead.
Right. We saw that example of the sauce company. They used an AI agent to slash their average response time for demo requests. They went from, 12, 24 hours,
Which is already not great.
not great at all, down to just 42 seconds.
Wow.
And that incredible speed increase translated directly into a massive 23% jump in their demo-to-close conversion rate. More qualified demos booked, more deals closed.
So how does gamification fuel that kind of sales engine? It's already pretty competitive.
It channels the competitiveness productively. It's about celebrating the activities that genuinely drive results, not just raw call volume. So maybe leaderboards that encourage healthy competition around qualifying the highest value leads based on data insights from the agent.
Not just the most leads.
Right. Quality over quantity. And really importantly, maybe achievement badges for hitting key outreach milestones or for consistently using the data insights the agent provides to tailor their approach. You reward smart selling enabled by the AI.
Makes sense. And finally, what about operational efficiency? Things like inventory management or supply chain. Those seem critical for cost reduction, but maybe harder to gamify.
Yeah, they're definitely a high-value area, sometimes overlooked for these kinds of initiatives. Take demand forecasting. When it's powered by AI agents analyzing vast amounts of data, it's been shown to reduce inventory holding costs by up to 30%. That's huge for cash flow.
Okay, 30% is significant. But how do you gamify forecasting accuracy or inventory levels? It doesn't feel as individualistic as sales or customer service.
You're right, it often needs to be less individualized and more team-focused. You could create, say, achievement systems for the entire logistics or procurement team that successfully reduces overstock levels below a certain threshold for a quarter, or maybe minimize the stockout incidents.
Turn it into a collective challenge.
Exactly. You turn a critical but perhaps traditionally dry operational metric into a shared measurable goal with clear rewards for the team hitting it.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but for the SMB owner listening, maybe without a dedicated in-house IT department, that technical barrier still feels pretty daunting. How do they actually get started?
That's a key concern. But I'd argue the democratization of AI is the answer here. Honestly, the idea of a massive technical barrier is becoming a bit of an outdated mindset for many use cases.
How so?
Because of the rise of no-code and low-code platforms. Think about tools, maybe platforms you already use like HubSpot, or tools like Airtable, or specialized agent platforms like Lindy AI. They're increasingly building sophisticated AI agent configuration capabilities right in.
So you don't need to be a programmer.
Not necessarily. These platforms allow SMBs to configure quite complex agents, often using visual interfaces, drag and drop elements, maybe just plain English descriptions of the goal. You don't need to write a single line of code for many powerful applications.
So the core skill needed shifts away from technical coding ability.
Absolutely. The core competency shifts from knowing how to code the AI to knowing how to clearly define the business problem you want the AI agent to solve.
Okay.
Instead of asking, how do I build this specific type of neural network? The crucial question becomes, how do I reduce our customer support response time for Tier 1 issues by 30% using automation while improving satisfaction? The platform then helps guide the configuration to meet that business goal.
Right. But we established earlier, AI agents are only as good as the data they're fed. That sounds like a hurdle regardless of the platform.
Correct. That's non-negotiable. Implementation requires the business to get its data house in order. You need to unify and harmonize data, customer records, financial logs, support tickets, inventory data, whatever is relevant.
Which sounds like a big project in itself.
It can be, but here's the silver lining. The very process of preparing your data for an AI agent often forces SMBs to undertake a much-needed company-wide data cleanup and organization effort.
A benefit in itself.
A huge benefit. It establishes a more beneficial and lasting data-ready culture. And frankly, being data-ready is becoming a massive competitive advantage all on its own, even before you fully deploy the agents.
Okay. Platform accessibility is improving. Data cleanup is a necessary good. Let's close by revisiting what you said was the single biggest risk. The people. Change management. That's where these projects often truly succeed or fail, right? Driven by fear.
That fear is very real, and leaders need to acknowledge it head on. Our sources found that around 75% of employees worry, at least to some extent, that AI could eliminate their jobs.
75%.
Yeah, and that resistance often stems from a deeper fear of losing their professional identity, their sense of mastery over their work that they've built up over years. Employees need to see the value for them, not just the threat.
Which is why the narrative and the strategy must focus on augmentation, not replacement.
It has to be the absolute foundation of your communication and implementation plan. Leaders must consistently emphasize that the AI agent is there to handle the low-value chores, the repetitive stuff, the grunt work. It's acting like a massive digital assistant,
Freeing humans up.
freeing humans up for the uniquely human skills. Critical thinking, complex problem solving, creativity, empathy, strategic planning. The stuff AI can't do well. Furthermore, leaders need to be really careful with the gamification design itself,
How so?
ensuring it isn't, well, toxic, designing systems that genuinely reward collective success, skill development, and mastery, not just cutthroat, individual competition that can breed resentment.
So the mitigation strategy really boils down to being human-centric. Transparency is key.
Transparency is critical. Involving employees in pilot projects, letting them help shape how the tools are used, providing hands-on, role-specific training so they feel confident and not overwhelmed. Success is achieved by empowering the human worker, helping them see their new, arguably more valuable role in partnership with the AI agent. Hashtag tag tag outro.
So after all that, what does this really mean for you, the listener, running or working in an SMB? The core insight, I think, is this. The strategic combination of autonomous AI efficiency and human-centric gamification engagement isn't just hype. It creates a truly sustainable, defensible competitive advantage. This is fundamentally about building a future-ready, motivated workforce, not just about shaving costs off the bottom line.
And we really have to emphasize the competitive urgency here. The window of opportunity for being an early adopter and getting the biggest advantage is narrowing. Why? Because the most valuable, the most defensible advantage comes from AI agents trained on your company's unique proprietary data.
Your specific history.
Exactly. Your customer interaction logs,
Yeah.
your specific supply chain data, your unique historical financial performance patterns. The specific way your company learns to leverage that internal data with AI is what creates a superior position that competitors just cannot easily replicate, especially once the underlying AI technology itself becomes more commoditized.
So you need to start that data training process, that learning process now.
You really do.
Okay, so given that the biggest risks, as we've discussed, are often human and psychological things like managing resistance, addressing employee fear, ensuring responsible gamification, here's a final thought for you to maybe explore on your own. Maybe the very first step in your implementation roadmap shouldn't actually be choosing a specific AI tool or platform. Maybe it should be choosing a single measurable human behavior you want to transform first. Ask yourself, what is the smallest, most tedious, perhaps most universally disliked task within a key team that, if you could automate part of it with an agent and then gamify the remaining human elements successfully, would create the most immediate, visible sense of accomplishment and collective success for that team?
Start there. Build confidence. Build momentum.
Exactly. Start there.
Until next time, keep diving deep.